Hello Stampers, this is Carrie Vicanti with Stampiphany, a great Stampin' idea. Today we're going to be making a Hello Little One accordion book. These books are fun to make and they're super easy and quick. So what I've decided to use here was the Project Life Hello Baby Boy set from Stampin' Up! And as you can see, it goes through the first month all the way through the 12th month. And so all I've done is just take the cards and put them on each page, and as I turn it over, you can see that it also goes 7 all the way through 12, and it doesn't look like an accordion book right here, but as you can see, once I get to the 12th month, I'll stretch it out for you and you can see how it's just one long strip of cardstock that's been scored, and it just accordions out. And so I think it would be really fun. I hope the moms who receive the books I made a couple of these, I hope they really enjoy it. And you don't have to use the first month, second month thing. You could just cover it up with a picture if you wanted to. So let's go ahead and get started. The first couple things you'll need is, of course, your cards. I went through my box of Project Life cards and just picked out the ones that I wanted and then stacked them in the order that I wanted them to appear in my book. That made it really easy, and you'll see that down the line. The other thing that you need is, of course, some cardstock. I decided to use some Lost Lagoon. This is 4 1/4 by 10 1/4 pieces of cardstock, and you need 4 of them. It only shows 3, but there's 4. And then, of course, the cover, and that's 4 1/4 by 7. So now we need to score these, and I'm going to score the pages at 3 1/4, 6 1/2, and 9 3/4. And that's for the pages, so you can bend them back and forth. And so I love these little markers with my Simply Scored. They really do make doing projects like this a lot easy. That little tab on the edge there is where my tape's going to go later. So I'm just going to go through each page and quickly just score those. And you can typically get 2 strips out of one sheet of 8 1/2 by 11. That's what I did with these. So this project doesn't really take up a lot of paper, which is really nice. And I think also this is a great project if you've done your Project Life stuff in your album and you've got these extra cards laying around. You could just whip up a little accordion book because you can make as many pages as you want. This is the cover, and we're going to score it at 3 1/4 and then 3 3/4. And that 1/2 inch in the middle there is going to be our spine, and that makes it easier for us to wrap this cover around the book when it's all folded up. So now what we're going to do here, you can see I'm just showing you the spine there. We're going to put these off to the side, and now we're going to adhere our pages together. So those little tabs that I showed you earlier, these 1/2 inch tabs, that's where your tape or your glue is going to go. Now you can use whatever you want as far as liquid or tape adhesive like this. Just make sure it's a strong one. You want it to stay together. I prefer to use score tape. I'm not a big liquid glue person, probably because I'm kind of a slob, so I end up with glue on my fingers typically, so I like to go the tape route if I possibly can. So I'm just using some score tape. You can use tear and tape. I happen to have a slew of this score tape left over, so I'm trying to use it up, and then I'll purchase tear tape from Stampin' Up. I always like to purchase from myself. That's always the best way to go. And also you could use Fast Fuse with this or Tombow multi-purpose glue. Any of those will work, just whatever you're comfortable with there. I'm also going to kind of miter off these little sides. You don't have to do this, and I actually didn't do it with the original book. But I was thinking after I had made that book that I would have liked to hide these little tabs a little better. And so if you do miter them, they'll hide behind the cards and you won't see it as much. But again, it's just one of those things. If you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. It's all up to you. It's your crafting decision. So now what we're going to do is just create this long strip of cardstock. So you're going to peel your tape off, and you're going to line up the end of the cardstock with the score line by the tape. So you're going to put each one together like that. So I've got the left side is the one with the tab, the right side doesn't have the tab. Now we're moving down the line, and here's my tab on that sheet. We're going to take the next cardstock and just glue the next page. And so, like I said, you're just going to make one long strip, and do try to get it as straight as you can. You can see me really working hard here to do that, and that's because with these accordion books, it really does help your book to fold correctly and sit correctly when it's all as straight as possible. Otherwise it gets a little wonky when you try to put it all together. So here's my last one. I'm going to just continue on, and then we can put our cover on. So if you want to make a different size book, that's really easy. All you need to do is just know the beginning, like how small of a picture or a mat you're going to be doing. And you just size it that way. This is the cover. I'm just going to do the same thing I did with the other strips. Just take the side and line it up with the score mark. And now you just have one long line. For these particular books, they're super easy to adjust in size. You can use Project Life cards, you could use pattern paper, you could just use plain cardstock. It's all up to you. And then what you do when you get the strip made is just accordion fold it all the way, starting at the end, and then you'll want to end on the cover. Just makes it easier to do that. And then wrap that around. And then I like to take the pages and just squeeze those folds a little bit to get those nice and creased. And then I'll crease the spine again just to make sure that that's good and creased. You can get your bone folder out for this, but I'll admit I was being kind of lazy, so I didn't bother. But anyway, so now that your base is already ready to go, it's time to get out your cards. And this is where putting the cards in the order that you wanted them to go makes things really easy and efficient. So now all I have to do is just grab them one by one from the top there. And you'll see on the far right where it says you were born. I left that out because I want that in a particular spot in the book and I don't want to accidentally put it in the wrong place. So I'm opening the book, and as you can see, that's the cover. And to make it exactly like mine was that I showed in the beginning, you actually, it seems kind of weird that you're looking at the back of the book, but you want to start on that third spot over, and you'll see me put my cardstock there. So what you're seeing on the far left is the front cover, then the spine, then the back cover. And so we're actually starting on the inside of the book there on that third spot. And so what you'll do is just continue to grab your cards one by one. And I'm just using snail to hold these down. You don't have to use the score tape. They stick down. Now I sped it up just a little bit because I think you pretty much can get the point just by watching it. You're just grabbing one on each pile and just going back and forth. And again, you can cover these with pictures or journaling or whatever. Whoever gets the book. Now, the people who are receiving this book, I'm not really sure if they're crafty people. And so I don't want to overwhelm them with lots of accessories, so I'm keeping it pretty plain. Now, once I get done with 6 months, I'm going to flip my book over, and now I'm going to adhere the cards to the other side. Now, what I did with my book is I changed the order. In other words, I started making the number month come first and then the pattern paper. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I just chose to do that. I don't know why, I just felt a whim. So I'm just going to start now with the month and then go the pattern paper and then just continue to follow that sequence all the way down till I get to the last cards in my stack. And one thing about the Project Life cards, which is kind of nice, is most of the time one side will go vertical and one side will go horizontal. So depending on the project that you're using, you can just turn the card over and change the orientation. And so that's what I did, is I made sure that all my orientations were portrait, so that when someone was looking at the book, it was going the correct direction. So here we are finishing up with month 12, and I'm getting my last pattern paper on there. And then what ends up happening is that you end at the inside back cover and inside front cover. Now on this one where it says you were born, that's the details. I realized after I put it down that I actually wanted that on the other side, on the right there, and not the left. And I was going to try to peel it up, and I thought, no, never mind, forget it. I'm just going to leave it. So I just left it there, and I'll put different pattern paper there. Now this is the accessory kit that you can purchase to go along with this baby Project Life kit. It comes with all these super fun stickers. It comes with some alphabets and just all kinds of stuff, and they're all photo overlays is what I'm thinking, because they're translucent, and some of them are not. Those are just regular stickers, but just kind of fun, and some wood accents, and of course some sequins and some little dots. And it also comes with a few specialty cards which are embossed, and so I thought I'd pull one of those out and use those with the book. Now, You Are Adorable was used in the first book I showed you, but I decided with this one I would go ahead and just use the hearts. So I'm going to take that and use it in the back cover. Now, I could have just gone back to the kit and just used another card. It's totally up to you, but that's what I just decided to do. And there I was just checking the ribbon. I'm notorious for putting stuff down without putting the ribbon down if it's needed, so I was making sure that I was not forgetting to put the ribbon down where it needed to go, and then I remembered, that's right, it gets wrapped around the cover. So now that the inside is done, we can start working on the outside. And so I just have some mint macaron lace trim. I liked using the lace trim because it's lightweight and it's thin. It's really easy to adhere cardstock over the top of it without getting all bumpy and wrinkly. Sometimes with ribbon it's thick enough you should really use dimensionals, but I didn't. That's why I used this lace, so I wouldn't have to use the dimensionals. I'm just going to take some snail and put just a little strip on the front and the back cover. Now what this will do is kind of anchor the ribbon for me, the lace trim, so it doesn't like falling all over the place when I'm trying to put the front and back cover matte pieces on. So once I have it the way I like, I'm just going to rub on that a little bit to get the lace to stick. And once I'm happy with that, it'll be time to put the front and back cover on. Now, instead of going back to the 3x4 cards that I had originally used with my little pages, I decided that I was going to use the 4x6 cards. Now on this book, I have this green pattern, and what I did was I went and took the 4x6 cards from the actual kit that I got the little cards from, and you'll see it here. I pull it out. I just cut them in half. This is a different card, but when you cut it in half, now you have a 3x4 card. It makes it really easy to do that. So what I did was I took these two cards and I just cut them in half and decided to use them for my second book. And I'll put the dots in the back and the green in the front just like I did there. And that's really easy. Again, you can use score tape if you want to. I just used a lot of snail. Really up to you. And you can see there's some little critters there on the back of the other side. That's what I love about these cards, is they're double-sided, so you really get a lot of choices of what you want to use. And so I'm just going to put this on here right over the top of our lace. With this Project Life kit, I was thinking as I was making these books how easy it would be just to make these quick little gifts for people and just have them on hand. I always have these dreams of grandeur that someday I'll actually be ahead of the game, but just so you know, I'm not quite there. Still working on it. Oh, I feel bad. I always seem to be behind the 8 ball. Does anyone else feel like that? But I refuse to quit, so I'm just going to keep trying. So now that you have your front and back cover on, I'm going to go ahead and tie it because it'll keep the flap down so I can work on the front. I'm going to take another card, one of the 3x4 cards, and I'm going to actually cut it so I have this greeting on the front. So I've just trimmed it off at 2.5 inches, and I'm just going to use snail and stick that to the front. Now I wanted to add a little bit of color because it is a lot of green. I wanted to add a little pop of yellow to that. So I took some other 4x6 cards and my banner punch. Oh, I guess first I'm going to show the dots. Yes, the dots are from the Accessory Kit, and I just put those on the front there. Just add a little visual interest. So now I'm going to do the banners. Getting ahead of myself there. And I just pulled just some pattern paper cards from the Project Life kit. Again, you could have scraps left over. This is a great way to use them up. I'm just going to punch out a few of these with my little mini banner punch. And I'm just going to adhere those to the front of my book. Now one of them I wanted to trim because I didn't want all the banners to be the exact same size. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim it. You don't have to use a paper trimmer. The end of it is just going to be hidden under the greeting anyway, so I wouldn't stress over it. So now I'm just going to put some snail and just tuck the ends of each one of these little banners. And here you see me using my scissors to try to flip up the banner ends just to add a little bit of texture to the front, just so the banners aren't all completely flat. And then I'll tuck these two. Now, what you could do is you could personalize this even more, is put the first letter of the baby's name on one of the banners. That's my plan when I get, I'm going to get some probably an alphabet set and just stamp that. I hope you enjoyed this book. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment below, and we'll see you later.